Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 344 of the Drunk Testers podcast. I'm, as always, I'm Tyler, and joining me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Oh, hey, how's it going, Tyler? Man, I'll tell you what. I feel so
Pretty?
exhausted.
Oh.
Well, hey, I feel kind of pretty too, but anyway, that's another story. But, yeah, I'm just kind of feeling kind of exhausted because of the work week and stuff. But I'll tell you what, I just can't wait for the weekend because it's like I'm going to be doing some bit of like cleaning here and there. And other than that, I'm just going to be prepping for our freaking Games of the Decade podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because, man, there's just so many freaking games I am remembering now that I played over the span of the past 10 years. And it's like, I cannot believe I played that much in the past 10 years.
Yes. Yeah.
From when I was 21 and now I'm like in my 30s. I'm like, oh, god damn.
Oh, my God. That's crazy to think. Yeah, 2010, I think I turned 20. Oh, man.
Dude.
Oh.
Man, don't even talk to me about that, man. It's like 2010. Like, here's the thing. I turned 18 like about fucking 2006. So it's like I go into like the 2010s, right, where I'm like in my 21, 22 or some shit, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, now we're like less than a couple weeks away from 2020, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm getting fucking old.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's funny. The day of my 30th birthday this year, I woke up, my back hurt. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
It's like immediately when you turn 30, it's like, oh god, what are these subtle aches now? And all of a sudden, it's like little touches of like the rigor mortis just start setting. Oh god, could you just imagine that? Just like you just start the game, and all of a sudden you just have these little aches and pains in your hands. Like, oh no, what's this?
Yeah.
No, it's like the cold is starting to get into your joints. It's like, oh, I just wanted to play some rounds of Tetris. You know what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's like crack.
It's crazy, man. Now at 30, in your 30s, you jerk off. You got to put your hand in a sling for fucking 2 months. It's nuts now.
I was expecting to go that way, but oh, Jesus Christ.
You had to know.
Oh, now I cannot unthink it. Wow. Oh, it's like, oh god, what's that feeling? It's like, what the hell is that feeling? It's like, why am I sore now? It's like, what? No. But
You go to work leave work Friday. You're fine. Come back to work Monday. Gables, did you jerk off this weekend? You got like an ace bandage on.
You know what's funny is some of my fucking coworkers do listen to this podcast.
Oh no!
And now they're gonna think every time that I'm freaking walking with a limp, it's like, oh my god, did he just fucking masturbated?
What do you do? Like, do you put you're limping? What do you like a full body masturbation process? I want. Is this like tantric masturbation? I want to know about this, Gables.
No.
Are you the Sting of masturbation? It's like a 7-hour process.
What the fuck? No.
Sorry, I had to know.
That's just between me and God himself. Anyway.
You could tell me after the show.
Oh, okay. Anyway, we're going to be focusing on one thing here, and that's video games. Anyway.
Yes.
Other than that, though, it's like, nah, I've just been spending most of my time now just like going through some old 360 games, and I tell you what, man, it's like I've been picking up things here and there. I've now got a sizable collection to where it's like, I want to say near about 20 physical 360 games, and a lot of which are pretty fucking good, but other than that, though, I kind of feel like that I got the feeling that I want to get at least one more game for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a bunch of sales going on in terms of the Xbox Marketplace, the PlayStation Marketplace, Switch, and then you have Steam that just started up their winter sale. I'm like, where the hell am I going to go with this? That's exactly my initial thoughts.
Yeah.
But, well, there have been some things that have tempted me, but it's just the last thing. It's like I am almost completely burnt out of actually wanting to buy games right now.
Yeah.
So it's like the one final like hurrah and stuff is just probably going to be happening pretty soon. But anyway, how have you been doing, Tyler?
I'm doing all right, man. You know, it's my arm's in a sling right now, so yeah, other than that, I'm doing okay. Now both arms are in slings, so it's a weird thing right now. No, I'm a switch hitter.
Just about to say, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Switch it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad this is a mature podcast.
Yeah, I know, right? I even got a manager in my bedroom. He comes up to me. He's just like, Tyler. He looks at my right arm. He's like, you did a good job. I'm calling him the bullpen. And my left arm comes out from the bathroom with the hand soap.
Oh God.
Sorry. Sorry. Too far. I apologize. I never mind. I don't apologize.
You can tell where our minds are going this night.
Yes, it's late. It's late. But no, I'm doing okay. Talking about the Game of the Decade podcast. I mentioned to you a couple weeks ago about doing. Normally we do like our Game of the Year show, like it's our last like recording of the year. But I think
right.
we kind of talked about it. 2019. I think we're gonna still do a Game of the Year podcast. But I just felt like it's the end of the decade. I think that's obviously a lot bigger than the year. And 2019 we talked about not the greatest year of all time for gaming. Nah. And it was just kind of like interesting, like listening to people talk about their Game of the Decades and stuff like that. So I thought it'd be kind of fun if we put our own list together. So we're getting together doing our top 10 list. We'll do that sometime next week. But it's a lot more of a brutal process than I thought it would be. Because there's a lot of games that I forgot that came out this decade. We were talking about before the show where it's like I thought I had my list together and Gable's reminded me of a game I completely forgot about. I'm like, fuck, that came out this decade. So, or like I'll have my list together and I'll double. I'm like, I think that game actually came out this decade. Let me go double check. God damn it, it did.
The thing about this, man, it's like it's going to be that process where it's going to feel even harder than the Games of the Generation podcast we did years ago. That's the kind of thing I'm looking forward to most when I'm going to be compiling this list this weekend.
Yeah. So I felt pretty good about my list, and then I looked at it again, and I'm just like, damn it, I kind of need to move some shit around. So I'm never, like every year, I never feel good about my list. So I always like eventually always have one regret or something like that with my list. So I'm gonna look at it again and before, but I'm not gonna try to stare at it as much as I usually do. But I'm excited to hear what you say, and I'm hoping that there's nothing else I forgot. Because now I just remember that one more game. And I'm like, fuck, I'm going to have to redo this whole goddamn thing. So.
Oh, my God. I could just imagine you, like, the night after or something like that, after you get done recording that podcast. You just go to sleep. You have your girlfriend right beside you. All of a sudden, one eye just creeps open and is like, oh, my God, I forgot this game.
It'd be like, oh, goddamn. What's at Home Alone when the mom realizes she forgot Macaulay Culkin at home? That would be me. Kevin! That'd be me. I'll be sitting there like I wake up in the middle of the night, the next night. Journey!
Yeah, it's like, Tyler, baby, shut up. It's like 3 a.m.
It's like, you don't understand. I have to like sit there and like go back through a recording and like edit myself in. And then like you somehow like, having a conversation about this game and make it make sense. It's like it was like fucking Barbie something 2012 and we're having a whole conversation about Barbie 2012 but I cut it back in and it's Journey now and make that make sense. Remember that part where the Journey gets their car and then Ken shows up? That was a great time. Yeah, I'll figure it out. It'll happen. You're gonna say something and I'm like, God fucking damn it, I forgot about that game. I know it. I already know it, Gables. I already know it. You're gonna ruin my whole list for me.
Just throw that one wild card out there that you're just gonna remember. It's like, God damn it.
Yeah. Fucking Bully came out this day. No, it didn't.
Nope.
I thought it did. I thought I just remember that.
You
it was
lucked out. It
2008.
didn't.
2008. It was re-released in 2010.
There you go.
It was originally an Xbox game. Yeah, so we have some rules for that, by the way, where like Resident Evil 2 that came out this year is okay, but like a game that was just like slightly up-resed or like it's just the same game with some better graphics, we're not going to allow.
Like for
like
example, yeah, like
go
say
ahead.
like Majora's Mask or like Ocarina of Time. Those are remasters for the 3DS. Yeah, those are not going to count. But a Resident Evil
Yeah,
2 remake, that's an absolutely different beast altogether. This is a game that subsequently was remade from the ground up,
yeah,
and not only having different portions of like different styles of gameplay. I mean, the gameplay itself alone is way vastly different than what its original game is, where you had tank controls in RE2, where you have like a third-person shooter commonality of like a modern age of this generation of gaming applied to this RE2 remake, and it's just absolutely fantastic.
hmm I need to go back and play that game.
I want to finish it so bad too,
Yeah, I
but
remember
yeah.
I, I started it, and then like life got crazy at the beginning of the year, and then like I went back like 2 months later, and I was like 4 or 5 hours in. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I can't. Like I just need to like restart that game and start over for the ground up.
Man, I'll tell you what, I want to finish that game before RE3 remake comes out because
Mm,
I've heard so many good things about the RE3 with Jill Valentine and Nemesis. Oh
yeah,
god.
it looked good. Look good. That that's a little bit later.
Yeah.
It's a little bit later. We'll get to that.
Okay.
But before we get to that, we got a lot of news this week.
Yeah, we do.
So let's do what we've been playing.
All
Just
right.
get that out of the way. Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
Let's have you go first, Tyler. I'm kind of interested in seeing what you've done.
Okay. So I played a couple games. I actually finished one. I finished the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order last
Ooh.
week. Yeah.
Okay.
It took me like probably 15, 20 hours a beat.
Okay.
It, I'm going like I love the story in this game. And I really like the characters in this game. I mean, a Star Wars game definitely helps too. But I don't. I just like by the time the game was over with, I was kind of ready for it to be done. Like
Right.
I feel like I was watching. I was trying to like figure out trying to like how am I gonna talk about this? How do I feel about this game? Because like I couldn't like get the words together. Then I watched. I don't know if people watch like the girlfriend reviews on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. It's a really great. It's like a girl like it was a girlfriend who watches her boyfriend play through games, and then she talks about it on YouTube. And it's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's really well put together. Everybody needs to check them out. But they did one on this game, and it was just like they purposely like not purposely, but they perfectly put together like all of my feelings. Where it's like they took all of these different gameplay types from different games. Like they took stuff from Dark Souls, they took stuff from Uncharted, they took stuff from like 20 other games, and they just compiled it all, like a Metroid game, blah blah blah, and they put them all together. But they're not as good as those components from those other games. It's just like an amalgamation of all these like the 10 different games, but they don't do anything nearly as well as those games.
You know what,
And
Tyler? I
yeah,
That actually reminds me of another game that I played a long while ago that people back in the days actually could kind of had the same similar complaints to that of Star Wars Fallen Order from some people, including yourself.
yeah.
And that game is Castlevania Lords of Shadows.
Okay. Is that the one
Because
that God damn it, Kojima made?
yeah, that was the one
Okay.
Kojima made
Okay.
because people had criticisms of Lord of Shadows, the Kojima-led Castlevania game, because of a couple reasons. One, it borrowed inspirations from God of War, Shadow of the Colossus, and like
Remember
other
that?
types
Yeah.
of games from back in the day, to where people, even the gameplay portion of itself was all right. And honestly, it's one of those games I really want to want to get back into and want to play, just to say that I've played through it, because I'm a huge Castlevania fan, obviously, and it's like, yeah, it's just kind of like the similar type of critiques that I'm hearing from Star Wars: The Fallen Order, where it's like you have elements of Dark Souls, obviously, Uncharted, this and that, like the exploration of that of a Metroidvania, which is similar, to Super Metroid and like Symphony of the Night and stuff. But even though it's got all these different elements and stuff, would you really call, like, say, Star Wars, like the Fallen Order, like, say, a good game, an average game? What?
Um, it doesn't. It's not like it's bad or average. Like it does a really good job of those game elements.
Right.
They do a pretty good job putting them together. But it's just like I've done better versions of all of these things in other games. So I would say
Right.
it's definitely a good game. It's
Okay.
like if you're putting it like if Uncharted and what else like Metroid things, if they're the the pinnacle of those, it's like one step below in all of those. But that, I mean, and I don't know, I'm not trying to make it sound like I didn't like the game, because I really did enjoy the game. Like, the combat's fun. It's a Star Wars game, so that definitely gives it a few points right there for me. And it's the first good Star Wars game I played since like Force Unleashed, and that was like 2007 or 8, I want to say. But like, it's a really, I really enjoyed it a lot. It's just like the entire time though, I'm just like, I've done this, like, this is more, I've had more like fun experiences in other games. And just by the end of it, I was just like, I'm kind of like, I enjoyed the story. I wish there was more of it. Like, I wish it wouldn't have taken as long for me to, like, by the time it really clicked for me, I was about halfway through the game, I found out. And there wasn't as many cutscenes as I've liked with the characters, and just more background on some of the things going on in that game. But yeah, I don't know. I keep like I think part of it too was like when it was coming out, and when it first came out, people were like raving like, this is the runaway game of the year. This is the game everybody's been looking for, like, for this year. And I think I kind of put that on a pedestal a little bit, where I was like, oh, okay, good. Like, I need that. Like, we haven't had that game this year. That's like even like we like some years we have 2 or 3 of those games like this, and this year we haven't really had that type of game. And I was like, I think I just maybe overhyped myself a little bit, but even still, like, going through it, I was just like, yeah, no, I've done this better in many other games. And I don't know, like I said, it's still a really good game. Like, I recommend anybody, like, especially if you're a Star Wars fan, play this game. It's really good. Or if you're someone like, I appreciate Dark Souls games, I respect them. I like that kind of the combat that they do and stuff like that. I'm not patient enough or good enough to play through those games at all. And I've always talked about I'm terrible at games, and I can admit that. And this game is very hard. And I put it on, there's like 5 difficulty settings. I put it on the second one. I tried playing on the third one, and I was just getting my ass whooped. So I had to knock it on the second one. Even still, it was really tough for me. But yeah, no, it's still a really good game. Like I said, I really enjoy the story. I hope there's more of them, and they deal more with those characters. And I don't know, like, so one of my favorite characters in the game, I don't think is going to be in the sequels, which sucks, because I really like that dynamic that they're going with there. They had like these with the bad guys, I think, are really cool. Like, they have like their sister, like the sisters. There's like, you only deal with the second sister and the ninth sister, so that tells me there's at least 7 other sisters that we don't know about, possibly. And they're like the main bad guys, and I don't know, I just really enjoy that dynamic. And like, Cal dealing with like trying to, like, what they're trying to do is like rebuild the Jedi Order, because it takes place between 3 and 4, after, spoiler alerts for Star Wars, I guess, for like the ones from 20 years ago or more, where like they killed off all most of the Jedis at the end of episode 3, and like the handful of ones are in hiding. So he's like, he comes back, he's like, he finds another Jedi, and they're like, we got to work together to bring back the Jedi. And that's what the main story of the game is about. And like, I like that dynamic, and also him like dealing with the dark side, and like he's seeing visions of him like going dark. And like, it's interesting. Like, they did like, it's kind of the thing I wanted to happen with the prequels that didn't really happen. And like, I enjoyed that. I wanted to see more of that throughout the game, and I feel like we didn't really get enough of that. And yeah, so no, it was a really good game. I do want to, I don't, it's hard to say, like, it's like, preface that, like, I really, really, really enjoyed this game a lot. But I wish I'd like kind of focus on like 1 or 2 of these things instead of a dozen different gameplay mechanics, and just like perfect those and make those really good. Because I really liked it. And the other game I started playing is Life is Strange 2.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna jump into Death Stranding, but I'm like, that's gonna be a 50-hour game. So I'm like, I got Death Stranding 2 sitting here, and I'm like, when's the last time I played that game? And I've talked about it a few times where I'm like, I'm letting the episodes stack up. I wanted to get into it and start playing it before episode 5 came out, which just came out, I think last week or 2 weeks ago. But wasn't able to do that. But I went back and looked at my trophies to see like when I played the game. It was like September of last year when the first episode came out. So I didn't realize it was that long. I thought it was like the end of last year, the beginning of this year that happened. No, it's been over a year. And it's crazy to think though, like it's been over a year, and I still really vividly remember that first episode. So they even did like the last time on Life is Strange where I played episode 2, and I'm like, I remember like 90% of this. That's how much I enjoyed the characters in the world. Like I remember loving some of the characters that are only in it for like a couple scenes. I loved them. So kind of a quick recap. What's going on is I'm midway through episode 3 right now. By the way, there's Sean and Daniel. Sean's a big brother. Daniel's a little brother, and then like they're Daniel's getting picked on by this bully, and then Sean like pushes him, and he falls, hits his head on a rock, and I think he dies. We assume he dies, and then like a cop shows up, and he's like, "What's going on here?" And then like Sean and Daniel are Hispanic, and like he ends up shooting Sean and Daniel's dad, and then Daniel, the little brother, like he like gets upset, and like this huge explosion happens, and come to find out he's got telekinesis power, so he can like move things with his mind, and he didn't know this until that moment. So now they're on the run for because they think that like the cop died, and they think that they're on the run from the law, they're trying to go from they're in Seattle and trying to go to Mexico. And that's what the game's about. These two brothers, Sean is like 16 and Daniel is 9, and they're trying to get to Mexico and hide from the cops, stuff like that. And you know, like I've raved about Life is Strange 1, Life is Strange Before the Storm as some of my favorite characters, like legitimately probably some of my favorite characters of this generation, like up there with Mass Effect to me, of like just a cast of great characters I think that they built in these games. And so it's cool. It's been nice going back and play through them, and like it's just crazy to me, like it's been over a year, 15 months since I played the first episode, and I like that's how much of an impact those characters made on me, that I still remember them to this day, and things that happened with them. And it's just that one episode, 2-hour episode, and even the little they had like a prequel episode that came out last summer that I played through. That was really good, and I still remember that one. And like you actually do like that character actually makes like he's the main part of episode 2. He's like this little kid who thinks he has powers. But it was interesting. I'm really enjoying it quite a bit. It's hard. These games, I always hate talking about these kind of games. One, because I'm only halfway through them and they're being episodic, but also the fact that it's hard to talk about these games. Like there's a story. It's a story-based game. It's hard to talk about without spoilers. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Like I don't want to try to like. I'm going in my head. I'm like, am I liking this more than the first Life is Strange with Claire and all those characters? And I don't know if I'm ready for that, but I feel like Don't Nod has done a fantastic job so far with these characters, and they're making it really challenging. Like I'm really thinking, I'm like, man, they might have done a better job with this game than they did with Before the Storm, and even though that Before the Storm has been by Deck 9, and the Life is Strange 1, like they're doing a fantastic job. So I'm gonna keep playing it, and I'm gonna I want to try to beat it this weekend, hopefully, because each episode is only like a couple hours long. And then I'll come back and I'll talk about the rest of those when next time we do a normal show. But that's all I've been playing. Gables, what about you?
Well, man, I'll tell you what. It's like I've been playing a hodgepodge of stuff. So it started off where when I got my Xbox One, I just thought that okay, let's go ahead and just download a whole bunch of the games that I had for Xbox Live Arcade games. So I've downloaded, I think I've downloaded at least about a good solid like maybe 20 games or something. Damn. From that thing. A lot of them were just small, like file games, like a gigabyte here, maybe 500 like megabytes there or something like that. But
yeah,
I decided to go through completely again the Castlevania Symphony of the Night, like the Xbox Live version of it, the one that I had gotten originally when it first released on Xbox Live. And man, there's some parts of that game is actually like it kind of chugs a little bit, you know, like a little bit of slowdown here and there, and that's like, wow, that's kind of jarring. I didn't really expect that to be like have that kind of a bit of slowdown with that portion of the game, and it's kind of directly in sort of the portion where you go through the underground cavern and stuff of the regular castle. And what's kind of interesting is not only did I do the completion, I got every single one of those achievements, which nice. Yeah, you know what, I've platinumed the game before in terms of Castlevania Requiem last year. And then this year, it's like that one achievement that I never got on Xbox Live. I end up getting that, you know, with completing the game, not only 200.6%, but defeating, you know, using Richter Belmont in order to go through and just blast through that game. Because I end up discovering, it's like, okay, here's the path I'm going to take. So I'm going to go right from the castle start, and I'm going to go to the middle part of the thing, and I'm going to work my way up to where I'm going to take the passage by the clock tower, go all the way up to the main section where it's like the All Rocks quarters, and then try to navigate myself up to the clock room. And so it's like by doing that, I just decided, okay, this is the portion that I want to go ahead and take to get to the castle keep so I can go to that warp. And then all of a sudden, when I get to the inverted castle, I reversed that. And so I went the opposite direction. I don't know how I did this, though, but I took the same path that I took going from the start of the castle, the first castle, all the way up to where I got to the warp inside of the castle keep, where, like, you face off against the supposed boss at that point,
Mm-hmm.
the last boss of that regular castle, and then I used that exact same path, but I reversed it upside down. And it sounds complicated, but to be perfectly honest with you, I just took that. I just had a ball with it because it's like, okay, I'm playing through Castlevania Symphony of the Night again. It's like it's one of my favorite games of all time. I'm gonna go through and I'm just gonna have some fun with it. And what's kind of hilarious is like I'm just using some of the bit of the same weapons and stuff. And what's kind of hilarious is when I went through the game during Extra Life, I had forgotten what the shield rod with Alucard's shield actually did. And so when I was using the little bit of the magic stuff from that run, I forgot I could just hold up the shield and just run into things and just damage things.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you use the shield rod and push like both of the attack buttons at the same time to activate the shield rod's ability, you can just hold up Alucard's shield, and it's got the power of all the different shields in the entire game. And so it's like you can run through and defeat bosses in the span of like seconds if you wanted to. Like, for example, it's like the hardest boss the entire game is called Galamoth, and basically he's like a gigantic freaking like a gigantic freaking like demon or something like that that's like 40 feet tall inside this one room. And so it's like he shoots lightning. He has this lightning rod, he moves in a specific order, and he'll basically shoot these like these dark matter sort of like bombs and stuff like that from his scepter. And it's like, how do you defeat this dude? Well, first you get the barrel circlet, which is like inside of a hidden room near the beginning of the game. Actually the beginning of the castle in terms of the inverted castle, and then you got to go through, and you have the shield rod and the Alucard shield. You activate that ability, and you can actually just stand in place while holding up the shield, and you will keep on damaging him for like critical damage, and all of a sudden it's like you beat him in the span of like not even a minute, and it's like, oh man. And we're talking like one of the hardest bosses in the entire game. But yeah, I always loved having like fun doing glitches and all sorts of various other stuff in that game.
Huh.
But I'll tell you what, another game that I did play through, which I had forgotten how much enjoyable it was. It's Super Puzzle Fighter 2. So
That's a Street Fighter 1, right?
yes, it has Street Fighter characters in it. It also has Darkstalker characters in it. And the main objective is to actually match certain little jewel pieces together in order to break lines, sort of similar to Tetris. In elements of familiarity, it actually has different elements from different types of puzzle games. So you have a match 3, a match 4, sometimes there'll be different type of modes, like balance for competitive play for online, which is adequately named like X apostrophe for like rebalancing in this. Because I believe the game originally was a PlayStation game, like an original PlayStation game,
Okay.
called Puzzle Fighter. And so with this like re-release that they did, Super Puzzle Fighter 2, I just had a ball playing as one of my favorite characters in the game, Morgan, which Morgan from the Darkstalkers series is like this succubus, right? And she's like one of the main like mascots for that fighting game series. And so I'm like playing as her, and I know the specific types of layouts, and I'm just going through different modes inside of the arcade modes inside this game, the match 3, the match 4, the regular arcade mode, and I beat through every single one of those things, and I had an absolute ball doing that. And I've actually unlocked most of the achievements that I did do back when I was in my 20s, which is kind of hilarious because of how simple it was for me just to go through and play the game. Just
our 20s, the long, long ago.
But other than that, I've just been dabbling with other games here and there. Like I played a little bit of Mirror's Edge, which surprising to me was actually compatible in HDR, which made the game look so popping vivid. I went through that entire prologue and first chapter, and I was actually amazed at how clear everything was. It was the exact opposite when I was trying to play Fable 2, where the gameplay's still fun. The characters and like the story stuff is all right. The gameplay's fun, but at the same time, it's like the visual stuff is really cloudy, really foggy for like an HD game. You could tell that thing was not up-resed for like a comparison, like an enhanced thing for that. But its original Fable, the Anniversary Collection, the Anniversary like thing is.
Oh, yeah.
But let's see. Oh yeah, I actually decided to try out Left 4 Dead 2.
I never actually went back and played that one. I wanted to, though.
I'll tell you what, though, it's like I loved playing the original Left 4 Dead. I remember vividly playing that game and enjoying a lot of the maps because of how chaotic, how fun, and how like just intense the game could be, especially if you have some like bit of people with you. But man, playing Left 4 Dead 2 and just playing through some of the first portions of it, I actually did started to get like a little bit like nostalgic of those times, but I never did play through Left 4 Dead 2. We have different characters, we have different types of maps, but it includes all the original maps though from the original Left 4 Dead, so that's part of the reason why I just decided to get that game to begin with. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much what I have been playing. Just old Xbox 360 stuff, plus arcade stuff, and it's just basically been like a whole retro, like roundup thing over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, we are kind of getting to, we're in that weird kind of, doldrums of the year where we're just looking for, we don't really have, nothing's really coming out, so we're all just kind of playing random stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just playing catch up. I'm just trying to play Life is Strange and get into Death Stranding here soon.
Mm-hmm.
But and also hopefully cross the fingers I get Pokemon for Christmas.
Hey, I hope so.
I hope so.
I bet you'll enjoy that.
I think I will. Hope so. I can actually play with the normal goddamn controller this time. But yeah. Well, Gables, we have a frack ton of news that's happened over the last few weeks, so thought we'd just jump into some of that. I figured first though we could jump in some of the smaller items before we get into the big stuff though.
All right.
So first up, this one a little bit more for me, but this is, I think it was pretty big news when it happened. But Campo Santos is a company that came together a few years ago. They were in 2016. They actually released Firewatch.
Yeah.
Which was actually one of my 10 favorite games of that year when it came out. I think it was 2016, I want to say. But they were originally, they were like the two main co-writers off of The Walking Dead Season 1 from Telltale. Left Telltale and made this company. But anyways, at the Game Awards in 2017, they announced the first game of 2019 in the Valley of Gods, which looked fantastic. Looked like the same type of gameplay. There's like Firewatch, more of like kind of a walking sim kind of thing. But anyways, love Firewatch. Was like super excited for this. Well, last year they were bought by Steam, or Valve rather, and I've been thinking about it all year, like not all year, but every so often I think about that game. I'm like, where the fuck is that game at? Like, is it gonna be a surprise announcement? Like E3 is coming up. Is it gonna be at a fucking State of Play? Is it gonna be at the Game Awards or whatever? But finally came out that they the concern was towards the end of November they started taking like in the Valley of Gods was like taken off of their Twitter description. It wasn't on the website anymore. So everybody's like, oh fuck, Valve canceled the goddamn game. And even though they said that they're not canceling the game. Come to find out what's going on is that a lot of the devs are now working on the new Dota game like expansion, and also they're working on the Half-Life Alyx game. So the game isn't outright canceled, but it's been put on hold. Bless me, sorry. I was trying to hold that in for a while, but I just couldn't anymore. But yeah. So I don't know. Did you ever play Firewatch, Gables?
I played a little bit of Firewatch, but I never really completed it. I actually have it on the Xbox One.
You son of a bitch. I understand. It's a fantastic game. I know. Remember even like I raved about it, and I remember Justin went ahead because not mainly because of me, but partially because of me. I'm going to take most of the credit though. Justin went through and went ahead and bought that game and really enjoyed it too. But yeah, I don't know. I was just like hearing that I'm happy we got some update on it, but it was just a huge bummer to hear that. They're very talented over there. They're doing a great job with Firewatch. In the Valley of Gods looks fantastic to me. What the one trailer we got over 2 years ago now at this point. But I don't know. I'm just really upset about it. I'm a little bummed. And this is kind of the thing I was worried about when Campo Santos was. It was the end of the last year, the beginning of this year that they got bought. And this is it's kind of like that feeling whenever EA buys a company. And it's like now whenever you hear about it, like outside of Microsoft, like whenever you hear about a company buying. Like one of the big companies buys another smaller company that does great things, you're like, God damn it. And that's kind of the feeling I have right now, where it's like, fuck, like they just took this beautiful thing away from me, like EA does with like all the good, like everything good in gaming, like BioWare, fuckers. God damn, fucking they ruined Mass Effect. Fuck Anthem. Anyway, sorry, went on. Off topic.
The post-traumatic stress disorder of a friggin' Packers fan. Anyway.
God, why did you have to go there, Gables? Why do you have to go there? Why did you bring that up? You son of a bitch. You have one good season. You have one good season, and God, I'm gonna start calling you. You might as well be a Cowboys fan, Gables.
Oh no, we don't.
Yeah.
Oh no, we don't.
I'm going there. Fuck the Niners. Go Seahawks. Oh, that hurt to say. I can't root for the Seahawks. I can't.
Oh, I can't believe you actually went through and said it. You know.
I regret it immediately. It's one of the top 10 worst things I've ever said in my life. Fuck the Seahawks. Anyways, we're gonna move on. God damn it. This is getting worse for now. Moving on. So Outlast was a game from 2014 that kind of came out of nowhere for both of us. Mm-hmm. It was like a PS Plus game. We've talked about it many times. One of our favorite games of that year. And they had a sequel in 2016 or 17 that came out. And I thought it was okay. It got good reviews, but it didn't live up to the original. And I think more of it's just burnout for me of that kind of that genre than anything, because there's like a million of those fucking games that come out a year now. But now they announced, Red Barrels, the people that make the Outlast games, have announced that there is a new Outlast game coming out. It's still early in production, but it's called Outlast Trials. It's coming out. It's supposed to be set in the middle of in the Cold War era, so like the 70s.
Shit.
And it's a multiplayer game.
I don't know if I like the sound of that.
Yeah. So apparently, it's like, it doesn't have anything to do with like Outlast 1 or 2, obviously, because it takes place before that, but it doesn't have anything. It's in the same universe, but it's not like, it has no ties to the games. But it's like, apparently it's like you take on the role of like a test subject and like some unknown experiments. But there's no other details in that. But it's just like kind of interesting coming out with that. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like some like early access that comes out sometime later next year. I don't know, Gables. I don't know about you, but to me that just the kind of the point of those kind of like games is like you're alone, you have nothing, like you have no weapons, nothing for protection, and like what's the I don't understand what the hell is this game going to be. Why is new?
I guess he's not a fan of this Outlast Trials either.
I understand. It sounds like a terrible idea. I get it. Will you stop? Will you just stop it? I think she wants attention. But anyways, I don't know. Where are you on this?
To be perfectly honest, it kind of just doesn't really sound too appealing to me. Why? Because it's like the whole premise of the original Outlast was like, you're by yourself, you're trying to go and get some videotape footage or something like that from this asylum with all this various happenings, so you get a news scoop, but then all of a sudden it just becomes a trial of escape to where you're trying to escape out of this big old asylum while this one dude, this one cult leader, some has taken complete control, and so it's like
Yeah.
that type of a sense of helplessness on top of you can't attack anything, you have to just run and hopefully you
Hide.
make things go on and then endure all this other random shit. It's like, yeah, it's like though that type of experience was like that type of thing I will not forget inside of that game. And that's one of the reasons why I love the atmosphere and like the tension and all the other things in that game. And then all of a sudden it's like hearing this where it's like almost sort of like an opposite type of effect to where it's like, okay, it's going to be a multiplayer game. It's going to be set inside of a setting like a Cold War, and it's more than likely not going to have the same type of like features of whatsoever. It just sounds really well. It does not sound like it's focused. It just sounds like it's just scattered in multiple directions.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like what I was talking about earlier, but like with the Star Wars game, where it's like it's just taking too much for anything. The only thing I can think of like what this is going to be, it's going to be um, like Left 4 Dead, like when you play it online with people, like, or you play it as like the monsters or something like that, or like a Friday the 13th type of situation. Like that's the only thing that makes sense to me. And I don't know, like maybe that could be fun, but I just like the whole point. Like it destroys the whole point of those games to me. They're not calling this. This is not out. They said this. They came out and said this is not Outlast 3. This is just a different thing. But I don't know. I just like Outlast 1 and 2 have done really well for them. I mean, I'm all good for them for doing something different. But I just feel like I don't know. I don't. None of this sounds good. And it's just kind of disappointing. Like, well, I didn't care too much for Outlast 2, mainly because it was just like Outlast 1 was good because I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that it was kind of one of the first games a lot of people on like consoles played of that type, and it was really well made too. But also the fact that I think Outlast 1 was only like a 3-4 hour game, where Outlast 2 was like a 10-12 hour game.
Yeah.
To me, it had that Portal 2 effect, where like Portal 1 was fantastic, but you can beat it in like 2-3 hours, and Portal 2 was like it's great, but it's like 15-hour game. So I just I don't know. Maybe like I kind of feel like it looks like they just kind of overstay its welcome. I don't know, but here's hoping for the best. But moving on to one of our topics here is that MLB The Show, which has been a PS4 exclusive for as long as it's been around, since like what 2005 or 6, I want to say.
Yeah.
It is now starting in 2021. It will be coming to all consoles. So they announced it in a tweet last week that it'll no longer be exclusive. So next year's will be the last one of the generation will be the last exclusive one to PlayStation, and after that it'll be coming to Xbox and Nintendo. No, I don't know anything about PC or anything like that, but yeah, like no longer be exclusive. I don't know. This kind of came as a stunner because this is like one of PlayStation's big like tentpole titles, especially being as like it's its only annual title that they have. To me, it came as a big shock. I mean, I know it sells super well. You look at it in the NPDs, like around springtime every year, it does really well in the spring and summertime, even being exclusive. So I don't know, Gables, what was your thoughts when you saw this?
Well, my first initial thoughts was, yeah, I was shocked too because of the whole exclusivity stuff. But now when I think about it, how much is this tied to, like, say, Major League Baseball in and of itself?
Yeah.
Because let's look at it this way: PlayStation, Sony's PlayStation 4, even like just the PlayStation brand in general, that's the only place where you can actually play this MLB game. And let's be perfectly honest here, there's no other types of alternatives for baseball games that are competent to actually go up against MLB The Show. And
Yeah.
the thing about it is we had the 2K series, but that folded quite a number of years ago now. And what else we're getting is like this RBI baseball sort of facsimile that is based upon loosely from the original that was on the NES, but it's nowhere near like as good as the show, to be perfectly honest, in terms of the quality.
Yeah, and those games don't come out. They get pretty bad reviews every year too. Every time it comes out.
So you know what? I'm glad that more people are going to experience MLB The Show. At the same time, I kind of wonder if this was like some sort of leverage from like Major League Baseball, saying, "Hey, we want we want this game that you endorse on multiple systems or this or that and stuff, so that way we can get more profit from it." That's kind of what I'm interpreting this as being.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I thought about it too after a little while. Whereas, like, I feel like this is like, I wouldn't be surprised if like their contract came up and they were renewing for a new deal with MLB The Show, and they're like we'll let you keep making them, but it's got to come to everything else. And I'm sure Sony wasn't big on that, but also the fact they're probably going to get a good cut of the money since it's still Sony Studios working on it. I think it's I don't want it's not Santa Monica. Who is it? San Diego? Will's
San Diego
Vagina?
Studios, I think it
Yeah,
is.
Will's Vagina Studios is working on it. But anyways, yeah, I definitely feel like this was like MLB like kind of coming in, but it's definitely like kind of like the NBA games where like 2K was doing such a great job of making NBA games where like EA is just like we can't compete, and it's just like 2K and EA were both making baseball games at the beginning of the generation, and then it was just like or at the end of last generation, and it's just like you guys are just way better, and they're not. Everybody's just buying MLB The Show, so we're just going to tap out. Um, and that's the way I look at it. Like, it's good for the gamers, and I think it's in the end it's going to. I mean, like I was just saying, like it's always one of the better selling games. It's never going to be like top 10. Maybe it will be now when it's going to be on everything, starting in 2021. But like it's always sold super well, even being an exclusive. Even when like PS3 was like not doing super hot, those games always sell really well.
Mm-hmm.
And like people don't even give a shit about baseball. I still really enjoy those games. Like I'm not the biggest baseball fan. I pay attention, just kind of know what's going on. I do enjoy watching like the World Series, and the playoffs here and there, especially when the Braves are in it. But like I still really got big and like hooked into those games for a few years there, where like I played them. Like I would stop playing Madden to play those games for a few months. Like that's how much I enjoyed those games. So like Justin, I remember even bought a couple of them. He enjoyed them so much, and he's not. He likes watching baseball with his dad here and there, but he's not a baseball fan at all. Other than that, so yeah, it just seems like it definitely doesn't feel like that would be a PlayStation thing, even though like Death Stranding is coming to PC next year. I don't. This definitely feels like they were kind of like their hands were tied in the situation, like they had to do it. But moving on, one last time before we get to the big stuff, the NPDs for November are out now. So top 20 list, all the best-selling games from November of last month. So I'm going to run through it. So starting with number 20, Mortal Kombat 11, 19, GTA 5. It's the fucking cockroach of video games, man. 18 is Ghost Recon Breakpoint. 17, Smash Bros. Ultimate. 16, Breath of the Wild. 15, Mario Kart 8. 14, Just Dance 2020. 13, The Outer Worlds. 12, Borderlands 3. FIFA 11. FIFA 20 at 11. Luigi's Mansion 3 at 10. Number 9 is Need for Speed Heat. 8 is NBA 2K20. 7 is Death Stranding. 6 is Madden 20. 5 is Pokemon Shield. 4 is Pokemon Sword and Shield, the double pack. 3 is Pokemon Sword. 2 is Jedi Fallen Order. And 1 is Modern Warfare 2019 Call of Duty. Anything stand out to you on that? That's a very weird list this month.
Yes, that is.
Anything kind of stand out to you?
Well, what stands out to me is actually Modern Warfare has actually stayed upon the top of the NPD list now for at least a couple months, whereas past iterations hadn't really stuck around, like say inside of the number one spot, especially after the month of release. But
you're right. That came out in October, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Oh, I forgot about that.
It's actually consistently stayed on top fairly well, and that hasn't happened for a while now in terms of the Call of Duty franchise. So that's definitely a success for Activision Blizzard when it comes to that regards. But other than that, though, it's like, did we? God, what? I don't. It's just kind of funny, like just seeing 3 different like Pokemon like SKUs and stuff. You have Sword, you have Shield alone, and then you have the double pack.
Can we talk about the fact that the Sword and Shield double pack is ahead of Shield?
Yes.
Like, how? I don't understand.
I know, right? It's like there's a bunch of people that bought both, and then there's most people that just bought Sword, which, you know what? As hilarious that sounds, I'm one of the ones that bought Sword.
Seems like they made the right choice, though, to be fair.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, though, it's like I had the chance to buy the double pack, but I just got Sword.
I understand. Do you get a discount for buying the double pack, or is it the same bullshit? Or like, remember they did like with the 3DS ones? Well, you can buy both of them for $80, but you get 20 potions.
To be perfectly honest with you, if you bought it through the retailer or Walmart, you'd still be saving like $20 though, because
really?
they'd be selling them for like $50 a pop instead of 60. So if you bought the double pack, you would just still be paying like 100 instead of 120.
Really? Now I'm looking at.
Yeah.
I want to look at this here. Let's see this.
Because Walmart over the past like 6 months has been like, from what I've been noticing, they've been selling the retail games like for $50. Or even like $10 less than the average, except for some titles like Death Stranding and like Days Gone, where they were selling a full retail $60, and that was just mostly Sony's exclusives that they couldn't get like a deal upon.
Yeah. So like Best Buy has it. They're selling the double pack for $120, which is the same price, but you get like Gigamax Meowth as a bonus for buying it.
That's something that you would actually get automatically if you had Pokemon Sword or Shield.
So,
but yeah.
So there's like no benefit to buying this. Okay, I'm gonna go to Amazon.
Quintessentially, Tyler.
Okay,
no matter what,
this is weird.
No matter what version you buy and stuff, if you do like a couple bits of like say the Wonder Trading, which there is Wonder Trading in that game, you can actually get some bit of like the opposite versions of Pokemon relatively easily if you go and spend like a good solid like maybe day or so just Wonder Trading stuff.
Yeah. I do like the tweet. I think you retweeted it too, where it's like people were talking about on Christmas Day, like being awesome during the Wonder Trades, like sending like super cool Pokemon to people that just got it for Christmas.
Yep.
So I thought that was really cool. Like I remember like with Pokemon X and Y when that came out, like that was like the beginning of this podcast. Like we were 20, 30 episodes in. You, me, and Jake spent like 3 hours after a show one night just doing Wonder Trades on.
Oh, you two coaxed me into it. It's like,
yeah, and
wow,
then you kept getting all the good shit. Fucker.
I can just remember, I got a Magneton all of a sudden. Jay's like, oh, god damn it.
It's like, I got another goddamn Rattata. What the fuck? Bastard. Yeah. No, I don't know. I just thought that was it's just funny to me that number 3, Sword. Number 4, Sword and Shield. Number 5, Shield. So I'm never like I want to know, like, I wish they could put those together at one thing and like make that like, I want to see where that would that be 2 possibly? Could it be, I don't think it'd be 1. I don't think it'd be Call of Duty, but like, could that beat Star Wars at 2? If they put all 3 together as one sale number?
I believe they would. It would be at most probably number 2, but still be outsold by Modern Warfare.
Yeah. I don't know. That's funny to me. But I don't know. Like, look at the rest of the list. Like Death Stranding at 7. It's, I feel like November was kind of a light month for what we're typically used to. Like what we got Star Wars, Pokemon, and Death Stranding. 3. Star Wars and Pokemon, 2 of the biggest IP in the world. Death Stranding, one of the biggest. It's a new IP, but it's Hideo Kojima's first game after Metal Gear. So that's a little interesting. Well, I'm a little shocked to see it kind of a little low on the list, but I think obviously if you make Pokemon Sword and Shield one thing, it's really 5th on the list. That's a game I need to get back to for sure. But I don't know. I kind of look at the list like Luigi's Mansion 3 at number 10, kind of disappointing because the game did come out on October 30th. Like to see that it dropped that far, and it's behind Need for Speed Heat, which that game kind of feels like it like. I realize that game came out, but I don't think a lot of people know that game came out. I feel like it just kind of like, oh yeah, this game's out now. Like, and that was like, you just saw some ads on like the PlayStation Store and the Xbox, and that was like the only way you knew the game came out. I don't know. It's kind of a weird list this year. This month for November. Like, obviously, like we said, it's been kind of a weird year. November wasn't a big month. It's where usually we see like 5 or 6 big games come out that month. And we didn't have that this year. And now Madden 20 being 6th, that's weird to me. Like there must have been some awesome sale or something. I do want to. I wonder how big of a difference some of the Black Friday sales were, actually. Because I think Madden 20 was like $30 then, and like NBA 2K20 was probably at 8, was probably on sale. But like, I don't know. Like it was just weird. Like Outer Worlds was like number 2, I think, last month in the month of October. And it dropped all the way to 13th already.
Yep.
So I don't know. And GTA 5 is getting 19. I want to see Gables. I said this last year. It was like at this point, this time last year, it was about this point where I'm like, it's gone, Gables. It's gone. Like I want to. It's the streak. It's like Goldberg's streak. It's Goldberg's streak of video games. Like it's got to come off the list. Like where's Kevin Nash? Where's Scott Hall with the fucking taser? Like someone need to take it out. I want to see. I want to see like fucking somebody come in and like tase that motherfucker. And I want it to come off the list. Like it's got to go.
I still have nightmares of that stupid angle. God damn.
Yeah.
Goldberg should have lost to Diamond Dallas Page. That's the thing.
Halloween Havoc the month 2 months before. Halloween Havoc.
I feel like that should have ended the streak right there because that was an excellent match.
I agree, but also the bad part about that one. Remember though, that pay-per-view went off the air because they went over on time. So imagine if they would have beat the streak and nobody saw it.
That actually would have been probably the biggest like pissed off moments in all time.
Yeah. See. So maybe it was a good thing not losing to Kevin Nash, but that didn't happen there. No, who should have done it? Gilbert. God
damn it, no.
Fucking blinds him with a sparkler, spears him, jackhammer, go over. Streak's over. Should have done it. That should have been it. Anyways, man, we're going deep into the fucking 20. Was that 1998?
Yes.
We're talking about wrestling.
We're zooming past like 20 years ago in the middle of an MPD list. I'm like, God damn.
Yeah. Somehow our November 2019 list, game of the year, game of the month list, turned into 1998 WCW booking. Only on Druckner it's gonna happen. Oh fuck. I don't know. It's a weird list. But we're in weird times. In this generation. Hey guys, sorry for the abrupt ending there, but we went kind of long this week, so I thought I'd go ahead and split this up into 2 shows. So check back in a few days with our thoughts on the state of play from PlayStation and the Game Awards. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show and see you in a few days. Bye guys.